Very good morning, everybody. Today, one among the interesting topic which laid upon the fundamental principle of governance. We believe upon the systematic representation of democracy. We, India, believe to be a national ethos with a significant contribution from decades to decades. You know, our colonial system of British Empire laid the principle of modernity in India. But despite the Rajamanakana, that means the kingdom era, before the colonial events, propagate the civilization concept or the administration protocol and so far. India is a rich diversified country, we believe to be. Sophisticatedly, India, why it is democratic? Because we the people, for the people, by the people. And we believe in the principle of preamble laid in the fundamental concept of grassroots democracy, that is in emphasis of constitutional validity, Article 40. Yes, we believe in a systematic representation, people participation, people representation, and governance with the top-down approach. Not only that, governance with the bottom-down approach. Yes, there is a lot of difference between top-down approach and bottom-down approach. Without the bottom foundation hierarchy, nothing will happen, nothing else change. Because only the hierarchy which is laid in the topmost phenomena, any organization may not be successful if the bottom-down approach emphasized in a significant way. Yes, Indian democracy, we believe this concept is gender studies too. And gender studies too, this is the huge compactable subjective interpretation towards the gender studies too. And also, Union Public Service Commission in GS2, one among the concepts, one question will be definite enough in this concept. This concept is hugely in an administration protocol. We believe the administration plus technology divided by management. Tell me why. You know the management, the process of admin work. But the administration is different than the management. If you are correct in an opinion statement with respect to governance of any organization, any institution, any social hierarchy, this is the fundamental concept. With the coupling of the skill set which you have, or you propagate with the experience, or you propagate with the knowledge, that comes through with the true governance. That government is the best that governs the least. We know in the liberalization concept. 1991 reform, the liberalization, N.K. Singh Committee, and also P.V. Narasimha Rao and Honorable ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh emphasize on this. What do you mean by governance as far you concern? The governance is the process of evolution, the administration mechanism to deal the things in a last mile regard and reach the thing in a top-down to bottom-down approach. This is the true definition of the governance. Yes, there is a lot of interpretation from World Bank also, and also United Nations signed upon the 169 countries. This is one concept which even actually any organization should develop, not only the government body. Yes, it is also of course for the private organization, or else the concern of self-help group and NGO, charity, PDS, and also civil society. We believed that civil society is a hardcore phenomena because not every man is different, not every man is same. Or the linguistic minorities, regional ethos. India is a diversified culture with respect to regionality, culture, and also a beauty in the character is the beauty in the role played by the society. You know, if you saw Tamil Nadu culture, there is a best practice of Tamil Nadism, the core linguistic minorities and core linguistic ethos are principle laid upon it. The governance is based on the cultural event there. And if you concentrate in the South India also, the Kerala, Karnataka, and even actually, why not, Maharashtra also. But if you propagate the United Territory like Delhi, is the capital of India, which significantly contributed the several distinguished factors in a schematic way, is representing the ethos of the people concerned. This is called a citizen charter. This whole concept is enriched by the constitutional validity, not only in the preamble, it is also a fundamental right and fundamental duties. Why in the constitutional validity, the fundamental duties and fundamental rights are arises. This is the mechanism. This is the idea. Because we know our India is a democratic country, not only the government is trajectory enough to deal the things in an administration way, it is also a propagation of a man-to-man concern or the people-to-people interaction. It's our responsibility to develop a capacity building in terms of India to enrich the richness of the Indian mindset and Indian stagnation, Indian diversity, Indian geographical and biological and also administration protocol even actually. This is the kind of governance. Yes, sir, I have emphasized the good governance principle. You know, Sarvottam model of good governance. This is the best ideologically statement. It also believed the Nishkama Karma. What do you mean by Nishkama Karma? What you have work, that work should be ethical manner, and also it's a true to sense of the people, and it is also reaching the last mile regard no one left behind. This is the concept of Nishkama Karma. We believed we have to take our own colonial empire with respect to kingdom era, our British empathy also, and now the modern technology, the modern yuga, this is called as modern yuga, right? So how it is evolved in the governance principle, you know the civilization Harappa Nagarikate, Dholavira is one among the big contribution in terms of water management system. There's also one kind of administration protocol. And if you see the Mesopotamia Nagarikate, the Mesopotamia civilization that empowered the trajectory to people participation. If you concentrate the Chola dynasty, that's significantly in a local self-governance. There is also enriched in 73rd and 74th Amendment of the 11th and 12th Schedule of Indian Constitution validity. Right? And see, in a grassroots democracy, in a colonial kingdom era, Vijayanagara Empire, one of the great king, Vijayanagara Krishnadevaraya, he emphasized in administration protocol in a significant massive democratic sense. So, there is no regional bias, there is no diversity. Yes, there is a diversity, but not in a distinguished activity. We all one for all for one. The trajectory to ethos should be managed again. You consider the what is the contribution of British Empire. The significant contribution is the railway system and also abolition of the caste system and also giving the right to the women. Earlier it is a vulnerable state, but now it's not. That democratic sense administration manifesto that contributed the significant effect in the now the current scenario of administration. We believed after 1857 revolt to 1947 independence, there is a freedom movement. There is a lot many fighters, freedom fighters have fought in independence for their respective consecutive way. They are either extremists, there are moderates, or the neutral principle with the army, Indian National Army, Sir Subhash Chandra Bose. And also B.R. Ambedkar are emphasized the social concern, and Mahatma Gandhi, the great doctrine of the state policy, concerned to the local self-governance. So we have three leaders here. Among that leaders also, we believe the Mahalwari system, Raikavari system, and also there is a significant factor there, the Royce or Raita. Earlier it is a heavy burden for the farmers to deal the things in a manifesto in the British era. After that, the colonial imperialism is abolished. They propagate the Raika is the supremacy. So the administration will be eased out. So we have to learn the things in a different sphere in order to make sure the Indian mindset to deal especially concerned to the overwhelming phenomena. Okay, now it is a digital era. We have faced the GST 2017, One Nation, One GST. And after that, digital integration in 2015. Now it is an era of Google Pay, Phone Pay, BIM, like all. Each and every sector is a technology upgradation. What do you think on it? It's for the welfare of the society in a different way and different combination, right? Yes, sir. Here the good governance principle laid upon the 8 principle. One is transparency. What do you mean by transparency? Giving truth to yourself, to deal the things of the last mile regard. And what do you mean by participatory democracy? If you are not participating in any objective to the subjective interpretation, that won't be feasible and that won't be gained upon the significant factors. Why participation mechanism needed means what you know it may not be new for the successful representation of other people, right? So your participation is only one agenda if you want that wants or the needs, whether it is greed or the need, that will be propagated, right? You have to be voice of choice or the choice of voice. That is the distinguished participation mechanism here. And you consider the accountability, second chapter of the transparency. If you are transparent enough, definitely the accountability will be arises. But it is a huge impact and dig out in a corruption way. How corruption, India is a 44th out of 180 nations corruption index report. So how difficult it will be. Even each and every segment of administration, even the politicization are corruptive in nature, even the business modeling is the corruptive in nature, giving an interest to interest, interestlessness to interest, that is the factor. So giving a magnificent enough the systematic representation in a corruptive way that laid upon the accountability principle. If you are accountable, then your winning will be wellness. Absolutely right? Yes. And efficient and efficient way. Efficient and inefficient. This is the two coins of one face, right? Why I am saying two coins, one face, not in a one coin, two face. There is a lot of difference. Means how you effective when you reach out what is your need. Otherwise it won't be. How you are not reaching out to your own wellness, you have no objective. If you want to be in an obligation way, there is no need of effectiveness. If you want to be an obligated way or the objective way, then the effectiveness will be commenced off. And you see, the equitable inclusiveness, we believe in a shared growth or the based growth or the bottom down growth, right? It's a growth of phenomena. Inclusivity means inclusive is not only the Homo sapiens, it is also for the animal creatures, mammals and birds, and also, why not? It is an environmental condition too. Inclusivity means in a holistic way, not in that long last mile that is called as sustainable development goal. Absolutely fine? Yes. Responsive enough. How do you respond when your need fulfilled, right? Otherwise, until that your need is not fulfilled, you are not responsive enough. To deal the things in a needful way, we have to propagate the objective correctly, not mismatch, and participatory democracy will be willingness, and administration in a top-down should be analyzed properly, and bottom-down should be implemented properly. We know Indian constitution validity, the legislative is separate and judiciary is separate, and also, why not, executive is the separate. That is also called as a separation of constitutional validity. Why it is so? Ease of doing business? Yes. India ranked ease of doing business is mutually consecutively past 5 years is a hamper in nature. That's a great domain. So, the responsiveness comes from one objective should fulfill to another one, that is only the consecutive way. Let us consider follow the rule of law. If there is no rule in India, what is your takeaway? If there is no rule, your liberty will be enriched? No. Liberty cannot be enriched. If there is a liberty in a systematic way, the rule of law in a significant way, that is the contribution which for the empowership of the country leadership. Any nation, it may be a developed country, it may be a developing country, or it may be underdeveloped country. So India, if you see, from the decades of underdeveloping to the now currently developing and also in a future developed country, if you want to become the fourth largest to third largest economy, you have to propagate your rule of law in a disciplinary action. If you want to read a book in a chanceless way, then the need of objective should be fulfilled in a disciplined way, right? If you want to rank, you have to be disciplined. In the same way, if the administration is smooth enough, you have to discipline individually than the societal hierarchy. Don't blame others to deal the things. First you concern yourself to discipline enough. Then the rule of law will be adjected and propagate the society in a welfareism, right? There is a beautiful concept of good governance principle. You can write it in mains also for objective. Yes, the objective of good governance is laid upon these principles itself. This is the consideration. But one thing I will tell you, the public trust. If you have a trust, you believe me, I will believe you. This is the concept of United Kingdom. But you believe me, definitely I am going to propagate the believeness to trusty way. That is the believeness in India. Right? The believeness is not only joke. Believeness is, it comes under the soul, the representation, the objective, and the nerve to nerve. We know how many billions of brains now cells is there, 180. At a time it will be propagated, right? So believeness comes from the trusteeship to ethos to deal the things not in a gender bias. It is also considered the validation to the point of investigation on that respective society, right? Yes. This is the note of beautification. I emphasize this note is mine because of the handwritten notes. This is also one beauty of the concept. I wrote several distinguished factors in the governance system. One is citizen charter. What do you mean by that? We believed in a democratic way, people-to-people participation, society-to hierarchy, government intervention, and public participation, and also private concernity and corporate social responsibility. That is the principle of citizen chartership. The commitment to standard model is the citizen charter. This is the breakdown, the vision to mission. Right? What do you mean by vision to mission? You have a mission, then you have a vision. If you don't have a vision, then absolutely mission is impossible. There is a movie called Mission Impossible in English, right? That same propaganda is citizen charter also. And the business service. What do you mean by business according to you? Only common people can answer it. Yes. Business is nothing but the mutual interest of economy. Business means a cooperation of the trusteeship between two particles directly or indirectly. That is also a standard of living in a concerned manner. You know, this whole chapter is propagating efficient, responsible administrative protocol. This is the fundamental of citizen chartership in a good governance principle. Also, it laid upon the Ashoka model of good governance. Mutual harmony is the respective enough. So whole the chapter is laid upon the organization principle and management ethos and public participation in a welfare society in the trustee way. This is the beauty of the concept. And you know, corruption, we believe the exploitation of the public trust in such a haphazard manner. How it is difficult. If you want to a non-corruptive fellow, India is takeaway. How many of you are believing it? No. Only the politicalization is the corruptive or administrative also a corruptive in India. It is not a whole sense of India concern. Because we know government of India ranked 44 or ranked 43 with respect to corruption, India corruption rate out of 189 countries. So significantly we reduced after the demonetization economic principle of 2017. Now it is the takeaway. Here the public servant personal growth is not a matter. We believe the public servant is the servant of the people. You know that if you want to become an officer tomorrow and you became, and what for you are serving? You serving for your welfareism? No. You serving for your society. Even though you are corruptive enough and deal the things in a different distinguished activity, what is the takeaway to represent yourself? Only to propaganda of your family? Family mutual interest is not a matter to deal the things in a welfareism society. This is not the era. Because if you are concentrated only on your family, for what reason you are coming to the service? Service is not a biased manner. Service is no value. When it is value, reaching the needful greed, not the greedful need, right? There is a lot of difference between greed and need, right? Greed is an individual hierarchy to responsible for the respective integration in a family sphere of our own. Need is a distinguished phenomena to deal the things in a welfareism towards the society individually than the societal hierarchy, right? Yes. And you know, the transparency and accountability, maintaining the law, rule of law. Why? Transparency means the open about the exploitation, corruption. No. Transparency means dealing it in an individual mindset, meaningful ethos, cognitive behavior, and also trusteeship. When you are writing the prelims, you have to understand the work of other people when you became the officer, right? In order to understand what he is planning. When you are writing the mains, you have to deal the things in a different sphere of any department. You have to get to know each other by practicing or by knowledge or by experiencing. If you are not trusteeship, if you are not transparent, if you are not accountable, what service you can give it? This is the whole agenda, combination of unforgiveness. Forgiveness is different and unforgiveness is different. What do you mean by that? Accountability need in a forgiveness. How many people are believed? Forgiveness means, okay, this is the challenge. I will make sure I will get in a propagate enough to deal the things in a solution way. Make the way forward, make the future restrictions, there is a manner. So this is called as a transparency and accountability in a public ethos. And you consider the individual transparency need is more. Because is there any obligation necessary to deal the things in a atma of your soul? No. Here the public servant or any top-down approach is not maintaining his own business there. He is maintaining the business of India. So how trustee, how transparent, how public accountability should be maintained? It's not only the case of Controller Auditor General of India, it's also for you to deal the things in such a way of magnificent truthship and trusteeship, the Gandhian principle, right? Yes. The RTI, the Right to Information, 2005 it is commenced, one of the great signatory democratic principle. If you want any information, you can connect it with the RTI, Right to Information Act 2005. It's not the bigness, it is a voice of the voiceless. You don't know something what happened in a particular administration, but you know you have to seek, you have to get to know as your right. It's your fundamental article, you have a freedom and you have a collective responsibility and you have a ethos. Build upon it. The RTA represents the 2005 is maintaining the transparent administration and propagate the transparent trusteeship. Governance. We believe the local self-governance 73rd and 74th Amendment. We know the GVK Rao Committee, LM Singhvi Committee are emphasized the 2-tier to 3-tier system. And also the bottom-down approach is manifesto in the Gandhian principle. You know, there is a twin balance system of top-down and bottom-down. What do you mean by bottom-down approach? It's an individual hierarchy. Jawaharlal Nehru emphasized the industrialization, whereas the Gandhian principle of ethos significantly maintaining the local self-governance. That is a Charaka, he laid Neikarala, Charakarali. That is the principle he laid upon. So, if the village is in a good way, the welfareism way, the whole nation will be building, because each village is consisting their own culture, their own diversity, their own manifesto, their own needs. But the problem of each individual village may not be the problem of other villages too. The individual village problem should be addressed in a propagated way to deal a manifesto to needful concern, right? Suppose Dolamira, Dharavi, Maharashtra, Dharavi, and Dolamira, and also the Hasan district, Modnahundi, Mysore district, Kempegournahundi. These are the village, and Dakshina Kannada, Sampya, right? Putturu district. These are all the village, not the way. It is only having a problem in a similar condition. It may be in a different way. It may be a responsible. The responsible for the situational challenges should be matched in the responsible way which it needs to be, right? The way the challenges are occur, the solution should match it. Then only the welfareism happens. It may be, you may be good in technology, you may be good in transparency, you may be good in administration, but ultimately what is the need that should be fulfilled, then only it will occur, right? This is propagated in even actually the international sphere. also laid upon Indian mindset. There is also the effectiveness and efficient process. Good Governance Index report according to India ranked 63 out of 179 countries. This is the statistical report, what I can suggest. What do you mean by good governance? We know Tamil Nadu is the topmost administration mechanism. Not necessarily it is a cultural way, not necessarily it is reaching an achievement result, because the administration will be evolved in a appropriate manner. The technology intervention, administration manifesto, management modeling and processing to reach out to the last result is the meaningful ethos. The condition assessment is good in there. Whereas you consider the Bihar government, it is a sophisticated decade to decade to decade. The corruption is more. When the corruption is more, there is no transparency, there is no accountability, there is no social audit, there is no welfareism. Still it is in a very poor condition. Now, yes, of course, Honorable CM of Nikhil Sir is capable of the union government. In a combination, necessarily it is an objective. Now the Bihar government is facing an election. Probably it may be eased out in a smooth way. But earlier condition was very vulnerable. When the state is vulnerable, you cannot build the GDP. Right? How far you are concerned the GDP in a vulnerable state? You cannot. How far you develop your own individual people? Whether you are in a Kerala state, you are in a Karnataka state, or else you laid upon in the Jammu Kashmir. The people intervention to the need to greed is necessary to deal the things in the ease of doing business. Right? So this is the concept of good governance model. The proposition, the building consumption spirit of ethos from the people and enhance the better management and also the representation people is a grassroots of good governance principle. Very small, but it has a meaning governance. Yes, of course, it's not, you know that in a liberalization concept, 1991 reform, that government is the government that governs the least. This principle is not only for the government body, it is also a concern of the private individuality. That's why the corporate social responsibility arises in a manifesto of their own willingness. This is the concept of the corporate governance. We believe that the systematic companies have directly or indirectly contributed some of the welfareism society. If he contributed for their own well-being to these several distinguished factors, how the GDP will be commenced? It will be massive enough. The example is Tata Group. His Excellency, the group of Tata, is maintaining their ethos, and Ambani, he is contributing significantly in the COVID time. The relegation principle is not only the joke of any individual personality. It's not the chance of the government only. Welfareism is not in the hands of government. It's not that. If it is so, why PPP is modeling happening in India? Public-private participation. Why it is necessary? Government intervention scheme is so far is okay. For what reason it is? Means the fast-forward mechanism, the fast-track governance, the grievance readdressal mechanism. This is the key pillar here. Though the positive sentence and credible information on fairness property right or the fairness governance, speedy recovery and maintaining the good governance in the technological sphere is the key pillar of corporate social responsibility. So this is also one kind of governance model we have to study. So this is one question definitely I think probably in a governance model because it occurs in a smooth way. Now past 5 decades it happens, not in a so welfareism society. We know after 2000 to 2025 national is building in a capacitated way, inclusivity way and sustainable way, right? Until that it is not. The intervention of the technology being immense in the 2010, right? Now it is a cryptocurrency way and gig workers are very nominal enough. So this is the concept of regularity and discipline, intensified sensitivity and rule of law. You know, this is also one kind of social audit. When you have the concept of transparency, it will recover it to you to deal the things in a manifesto way. Without transparency, there is no accountability. If there is no accountability, you cannot audit the social concern. You have to audit the social concern, then only the decentralization happens. Without social concern or without social audit, the well-being or capacity building, national network, integration, or the sustainable growth may not be reaching to what you extended or what you propagate or what you witness. You want to grow? Put on your voice in a social concern. That's why the public interest litigation in judiciary came up. Right? What do you mean by public interest litigation? That means you have to be a voice of the voiceless people. There is a challenge here. The society is facing the immense challenge. Then the public interest litigation, accountability, transparency is the way we propagate. The marginal society should be welfare. The democratic country is responsible of us to deal the things in a natural way to other people. One for all for one community laid in the social audit concern. So this is the significant factor. See, in my notes I have emphasized each segment, challenges, need and solution. So it is very easy to deal the things. After that also I have maintained the challenge and solution in my notes. That's in a sphere of broadness. This is the individual collective responsibility. Right? And paid news. In a Indian democracy, the fourth largest manifesto is a social media or the press, right? It is also fourth pillar of democracy. But now the condition assessment is very banned, not the booned. Why? There also a corruption happened. There is no transparency there. There is no truth in the news. If you want to dig a person, it can be in a 1 second. Or if you want to dig out any manifesto, it can be reached out in a significant way. So, where is a positivity, there must be a negativity. But the propagation to repagation of the positivity may not be seen upon until the negative sense will be abolished. This is the concept here. Personal agenda, propagation, repagation, than the representation is not a hierarchy. You are a techie, or you are an admin, or you are a management person, or you are a vulnerable state. To deal the welfareism, you are the man of the voice. Show it off. Otherwise it won't be work. What is your work? What time your work? And what for your work? You have to get a transparent niskama karma. You have to get in a way of ethical way. The ethical social media is good, but non-ethical social media needs the spiritual interest, not the spiritual interest, but in a personal interest, in a personal gain work. This is hampering the society. Because what we heard, the news is a news. It's not a joke. If the news is right, then the rightness thinking or the mindful thinking will be arranged. If the news is false, we have to believe that. That's the error. Your mind is like a box of sponge. If you absorb the water, how much the water you consume up? That is the replication. If your absorption is minimum enough, your absorption capacity will be minimalized and the growth of the absorption is also a minimalized. If your absorption capacity is more, in a positive sense, then the minimalization content will be reduced and positive sense is atoned. Then the welfare happens. This is the mindset of game. The social media is the first representative of the visual reality to the democratic country of the people, right? So, one of the big fortune, we have a technology-driven policy, but there is no validity in the information what we are getting. That information should be in a collective responsible, in a mutual harmony, mutual respect, without gender bias, without geographical location, in a mode, the way, the national building, the capacity building, then only the social media or the press or the fourth pillar of democracy are in a keeping head mood. Right? Without one, nothing will happen. Each pillar has its own significance. Each column in a building has its own sense. Right? Yeah. Sarvakam model of good governance I have emphasized earlierly is one of the concepts of niskama karma. That means the service in a quality way. If you are not providing the service, my topic of interest is to teach you in an educated manner to accelerate the growth of ranking in a UPSC, right? If I am not done enough, if you are not in a welfare of the quality way, you are not because you are taking my information. You are dealing the things to pay here. I have to give the respect for that. And what is my task? Giving a quality in a quantitative way. There is a lot of difference between quantitative and quality. What is important? That is quality. What is immediate? That is a quantity. Right? Here is the sense. We believe the second administrative reform commission has suggested the Modern of good governance principle. It laid upon the center to state, public to participation, bottom to top, and also in a regionality to geography. There is no sense here. If you are contributing a tiny way, a 5 rupees, you are contributing to India in a disaster responsive fund. It is a great contribution. Not necessarily you have to pay a 25 crore. Not necessary. Each and individual hierarchy is different, and what is your capacity that can be reached out. If you are earning 100 rupees, you are paid 2 rupees for the national building. It's a great contribution according to Modern of good governance. Individual representation is the main key pillar here. Think of doing business. What do you mean by bureaucracy? The public office and also the public interest to service in nature, right? It is also a service. What kind of service? Right service. The rightful service has meaning. The meaningful service has welfare. The welfareism service is a modern. The modern service is the representation to deal the things in a top-down to bottom-down approach, right? Here is the concept is how beauty it is a democratical specialization. If you are specialized in commerce and you specialize in a tech park, and I myself is specialized in business modeling or education sphere, I have to contribute in the way I need to be. The quality should be maintained. The quality should meet in the needful people in a quantitative way. Then only the good service happens. This is what the real bureaucracy. If someone are facing a trouble which is in not having money, but still the needful service to be fulfilled, that is my task. Because myself is there to deal the things in a sophisticated way as a civil servant. This is the obligation. That's what the case here. But lot of corrective hamper the corruption people, political nexus between the two states, or center to state monopoly, or the state to state divergency, or the regional imbalancement, geographical manifesto, and Northeast India contributing the 90s to 10. That means in a Financial Commission Article 280, the devolution principle in a horizontal and longitudinal way is 10 is to 90. 90 will be given by the central, 10 will be given by the state. Why? And what is the principle in the state way or the United Territory? That means 60 is to 40. Union government is contributing 60 and state government is contributing 40. Why? That means the state which is vulnerable earlier from the decades to decades, even actually the kingdom era of the encroachment or the eradication from the disaster management is the Ethiopia. Example Odisha, example Northeast, 8 sisters, or the Jammu Kashmir, the insurgent group, or the Chhattisgarh, nationalism contribution, and Bihar. It is the, some problem happening for the region, according to me. Some problem happened for the region. Some problem made by the region. What is the difference? Some problem means disaster management is not in our control. The disaster peninsula is not in our control, but it happened. The colonial kingdom era envied the state like Odisha or the Jharkhand or the Northeast, that it is also not a state of people. But the Bihar government made a corrective decade to decade, very corrective in nature. The political nexus, not intervention in a proper way. His scheme has its own significance but not reaching the milestone. Then the challenges arises. Then the proposition to representation is not fulfilling. Then the welfareism not occur. So it is not in our control something, but it is also our control for something. Right? This is the beauty of the bureaucracy. And you know, why you should make your own law? Why democratic sense? Each individual are having one MLA, and each state has its own, each district has its own MP, and each category has its own CM, and each state is a governing body, governor, and also the rule of law in executive chairman is Prime Minister, and also head of the chairman is Prime Minister, President of India. Why? Why the role is contributed for significant way to deal the things in the Indian monarchy? There is no monarchy principle here because the public is the interest. What we thought, we believed in the system of democracy, we the people of India, having solemnly to regard, to constitute secular, democratic, republic, socialistic, to secure all the citizens of India laid upon justice, integrity, socialistic in nature. Right? This is the bottom-down approach, but you consider it in a welfareism society, in the principle of Article 51A to Article 51K, the public interest or the public governance or the regulatory mechanism are manifesto towards it. It is not a joke. It is not necessarily a constitutional validity impose the personality to personalization. There is no value, there is no system, there is no welfare. So it's the interaction between the mutual harmony, right? Each validity has its own segment. So this concept is the gap between the government and the public. The gap between the public and the government should fulfill in the way it will be propagated, in the way it manages to be the mutual harmony. So this is the social justice level playing attitude. What do you mean by that? Level playing attitude means if you want to contribute in a single way, in a single window system, you contribute it in a way you want. It may be reach out for the needful people. It may be vanish, not needful people. Right? If I want to take your help, I can seek your help. Otherwise it won't be feasible. That is the task here. That's what the level playing. And coordination, how coordination plays vital role. We study the NGO, we study the central group, and also we study the public distribution system in a way, the charity, in a way, the civil society. You know, Mysuru, the kingdom era, the warrior family contributed significantly in the self-help group. Such a massive enough, such a decent enough, such a great enough. Why? Still now the Visvesvaraya contribution or the Mysuru warrior family is a role played in the Karnataka sphere of Mysuru Rajya or near, that is the significance. If you want to contribute in a single window period, that contribution should be long lasting, then only the welfareism called as welfareism. Otherwise it won't be. It won't be feasible. And you know, driven readdressal system, any obligation, any business, any contribution has its own coordination lagging. And also the corruptive interpretation happens. And also the public trust is mismatching. And also the politicalization will be happier. There is a grievance, means there is a problem. There is an issue between the one party to another party. We have to make in a rightful way to mitigate the things in a rightful sense. Then the meeting should be happen. The meeting is in a judiciary way, according to Indian principle, Indian mindset, Indian judiciary principle, because it's also a one among the separation body. In a 1773 regulating act, it comes the Supreme Court, right? The first Supreme Court. The Honorable Justice Chandrachud once propagated in the right way. The true democratic sense of the judicial justice is laid upon the public interest, not the public ethos, right? Because what is the interest? That is itself is the ethos. If you mismatching, there is no contribution here. So this topic is mainly the effective public intervention between the tribunal. Why Indian judiciary is having tribunal? We know Article 323 and 323A(b) is for the tribunal system. Why? Means each and individual has its own grievance. You cannot put a fine on the High Court and the Supreme Court individually. The pending of case is nearly 1.75 crores now. So this is a hierarchy. Sort it out in a way you want. There is an administration tribunal, there is a military tribunal, there is an economic tribunal, means the GST tribunal and all. So this is the beauty of the bureaucracy level playing in a justice way to deal the things in a manifesto level. Yeah. The IT role in the law enforcement. India is a digitized center in 2015. Ordinarily, the ease of doing business in a paper to paper. But now the laptop contribution and also mobile intervention and also the public participation in terms of the Google Forms are much above. Even the fraction of second, the message is transferred in one society and hierarchy to another society and hierarchy. If you are in the village called Bainduru, you can go and have it and information in a way you want, in a 1 second. But the village college Manipal, you are also a manifesto towards there. If you want to send a message to Mangalore, it is not the joke of it. If you want to go to the nearby the pension of college, which is very near, JFPU college, you can even actually maintain it. If you want to go with Putturu, Dakshina Kannada, what kind of message you are dropping within a 1 second. No matter where you are, no matter what for you are, no matter what condition you are, the message will be transferred in the e-technology. That e-technology driven the principle after 2011. So this is the great national building, don't you think so? That's why after the integration of technology in a IT sphere, we developed from the underdeveloped to developing country. Now it is a fourth largest economy. Is it way? Right. And yeah, of course, when there is a huge welfareism, there is also a challenge. Challenges in the IT role is the trust of the information from one to one, and chainage of information is a misusing, and contribution for significant welfare will be committed suicide in the IT sector, right? Lot of techie persons like BCA people and also MCA people, also Bachelor of Engineering in Computers, or also Master of Science in abroad, or Master of Technology in a Computer Science. They are developing their own coding and decoding for systematic cyber theft, right? So this is what we have to looking after. Even the bureaucracy, administration or management propagate responsible condition even actually, right? This is the condition. I have to believe the minimum government to maximum governance. How many of you are willing? How many of you are believing it? That government is the best that governs the least. The minimum government is the maximum governance. You have a 3 people here, or you have a many Janasagara here, but the minimum government is not necessarily to govern the maximum governance, right? You want a governance, whether you handle in a technology condition, you are only one personality handling here. Your human resource is only minimum, but the technology is abundant. The 4 people work can be handled by one technology that is sufficient for the governance, that is the minimum government, maximum governance. What you need, that is given. What you earn, that is given. What you propagate, that is repagate. That is what the implication here. So this is the concept of the beauty. The personalization is not there, gender inequality is not there, and absolutely the regional bias is not there. And also we believed upon the systematic welfareism, accountability, social audit and transparency, making sure here. So this is the model, take an action to new goal of 2014 onwards. It is right now is 2025. Approximately 11 years happened. There is the beauty in the character, the beauty in the law, the beauty in the welfare, the beauty in the concept. The great government is the minimum government. The great governance is the maximum governance, right? Yeah. The administration reform of government. You know, government is needing good. How many of you are believing? I am not. Government is not needing good. Public participation is needing good. The government is made for the public, not for the society, not for the ethos of concern. Each government is coming up and passing away from the 5 years. Each bureaucracy is passing away past 30 years. After the retirement, it is no role play, but the real government is participatory mechanism in individuality. What is my contribution? We have to think twice. Otherwise, it won't be realization. What is my ethos? We have to gain upon it. That is what the thing. What is my individual maintaining the rigidity towards the flexibility? That is the takeaway, right? This chapter is the mission karmachari. You know, it is also called the mission karma yogi. In civil service democracy, in a case study, I written the mission karma yogi. What do you mean by that? Karma is the kayaka, ಕಾಯಕವೇ ಕೈಲಾಸ, ಬೀದರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್, you have a face the Kudala Sangama. There is Anubhava Mantapa in the Karnataka sphere. How the dignifiedly he maintaining it public participation through the welfareism of the society in the urban context in the literature way. Vachana Samputa ಮತ್ತು ವಚನ ಸಂಪುಟ, right? This is the way. And there is e-governance technology. We believe the e-governance is the tool of intelligence of technological way. In a way it propagates in an administrative manner, and in a way it propagates the management concern. So this is the role played here. Almost the same, but national conference e-governance is the propagate here. The scheme is well balanced after the 2015 onwards. Right now the 10 years happened, that means 1 decade happened. How we are now, if you want to send the money to any Jammu Kashmir region, you can send immediately. There is no validation. Even the accountancy, transparency are validating. Where is the money, what for your money, where is it going, how far it is utilizing, everything you are in a pin of balance, right? That is what. Strengthen the Whistleblower Protection Act. Corruption is more. Every administration protocol sphere, the corruption is maintaining very nascent enough. To deal the things, to curb the corruption, there is a regulatory law. The law is maybe the Lokapal, the law is maybe Lokadalat, law is maybe Lokayukta, law is maybe Whistleblowing Act. The corruption towards the anti-corruption should be maintained properly. This is the role played the illegal studies and concern of the talk. ನೀನು ನಿಂತ್ಕೋಬೋದು, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ವಾಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಅನ್ಕೋ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆರಾಮ್ಸೆ ವಾಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಅನ್ಕೋ ಇಫ್ ಯು ವಾಂಟ್. ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ, ಡೂ ಇಟ್. ಆರ್ಡರ್. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, the dimension of the governance is the principle of hierarchy. Political and legal and administration and management is the principle. You tell me dimensional governance is not only the responsible citizens. It's also for the reasonable responsible citizens. There is a two twin balance here. One is the responsible citizen and regional responsible citizen. If you want a hierarchy business, you have to make sure the hierarchy. First you have to show the propagation. Afterward the administration protocol will be arises in a systematic way. Right? What is the devolution principle in your own way? You know the devolution principle in your own individuality. Not knowing the concern, not knowing the methodology, not knowing the significant factor, how come it is possible to know the things in a subjective interpretation? If you want any obligation, you quote the obligation in a very systematic way, but not the welfareism. Why? It is not your interest. It is a welfareism of the society interest. There is no voice to you. You have to become the voice. Then only the propagation and propagation happens for the society hierarchy. Right? The result-based approach. Individual manifesto comes for the reality. What is the result-based? What is the welfareism? The welfareism contribution from the individual mindset to deal the propagation or the sophisticated way. Right? How far the result-oriented mindset in a quality benchmark? You have a problem, you can arrive in an interest way. That is your problem. Because your problem is massive for you, you propagate in a reasonable way. But her problem may not be your problem. You are not in a voice to her. Why? This is not the result-based approach. This is the individual interest approach. Right? Result-based approach is the addressing the weakness. Yes, first you accept the weakness. First you address the people. First you think twice when conversing. What welfare I need to be. What mechanized principle I need to be. Then the revolution progress happens. You have to become the quality people, not the quantity people. You have to become the choice, not the voice. You have to become the voice for whom? Voiceless people. That is the trajectory here. And the management responsibility is taking role play. If anyone interested in such a significant factor, you are not arriving in a single ethos. You have a problem of gender studies 4, you have a problem of gender studies 3. Congregatively, collective responsibility should arise, not an individual manner. Individually you quote, that is your problem. Collective responsibility you quote, that is not the problem of yours. That is addressed by the right approach. Then, if you are not query enough, how come it is possible to change the system? You have to maintain, you have to open up the voice. Then only it will be replicate, right? That is the right-based monitoring growth. And also, granular level report emphasized in the Bragan model to deal the things in a preparation way. Yeah. The rectapism is also called as the corruption mindset. This is one concept in a different way. The delay the principle, logistic mindset, and think twice to deal the things in a corruptive way in a political lecture is not the joke. You have to be a responsible citizen to deal the welfareism. First, you have to responsible in your own individuality. If you have a freedom, you show your freedom in a way you want. But you concern the ethical sense, the way opponent is want. Because the opponent personality is showing their own interest, developing the sense of harmony. He is not thinking towards the individual, he is thinking twice for responsible opponent, right? Every brotherlyhood or sisterlyhood are considering in the nature of the twice balance, that you want the goal of society in a way want. Justice is denied if the justice is denied. Without the justice, you cannot handle the proposition. Without the justice denied, you cannot maintain the balance between the citizen and government or the private individuality. Maintaining the justice is in your hand. Keep a balanced approach, keep a mindful thought. You know, given good governance principle is happened, good governance role, citizen charter is a club between the point, and also intervention of the technology is maintaining in artificial intelligence to the cyber threat also. I have emphasized in the subject of interpretation earlierly quoted. Yeah, this is the innovation governance. Each and every administration has its own innovation. When experience matters. You have a knowledge, you have an experience, you have a trajectory willingness. Then the innovation comes. Either the three balance is weakened, one concept is not matching. Because every knowledge has its own experience, comes from the experience. That experience comes from the innovation. That innovation is the game changer for the rest of the life. You have a life expectancy only the 74 years, probably may not be successful for the future generation. The innovation comes through when you have the obligation to experience. You are not experiencing to deal the things in a general studies 2 and 3. You are not writing a single answer. How come you expect a rank here? How come the innovation comes through? Your growth, your life, your dignity is in a show of knowledge, not in experience. No. Your experience comes from the knowledge. You have to practice. You have to get to the rank. You have to swim first, then you have the swimmer. Right? This is the concept here. The Niti Ayoga released the innovation index. Yes, India is comprehensively more. Tamil Nadu government is especially making their own willingness, especially in the policing government, Uttar Pradesh is maintaining the significant contribution. Niti Ayoga report is manifesto towards it, and the e-governance principle, literacy concept, the Kerala government in sophisticated way in terms of technological intervention, and also literacy, the Mizoram is top. You know that how sophisticated, 98% of the literacy. There's a balance of approach towards the region society. Yeah, this is not the one solution. Yeah, if you concentrate the political stability, the statistical way, the 23rd rank out of percentage, it is a percentage. Means India is facing the worst politicalization nexus between the banks. It's a corrective interpretation, right? So this is the chart, and voice accountability 53rd. Only NGO and PDS and charity people should come to give a voice to you. Whether it is a bigness of them, you are not capable enough. You have a problem, why can't you share it? You have a solution, why can't you obligate it? You have an innovation, why can't you deal it? Show it off. What you know it, otherwise become it. Otherwise, don't respond it. Means you have a skill, utilize it. You don't have a skill, other skill should not match in the life. It should be propagated the way you want to be. you should be propagate the way you need to be, right? This is the balanced approach. And constitutional validity, one of the concepts is Kerala Kudumbasri. Women agriculturists are emphasized the Kudumbasri approach. The central group, the real Stroma, and also Mariaga from Karnataka, it is also one big example. And also Prakam in education, the educational sphere is manifesto towards the nutrition also. And also there is a Anna Brahma called as Karnataka, Akshay Patra Yojana. This is also one kind of NGO, making their own significant contribution. Why can't you people? There is no gender, there is no age gap. If you are 60, you contribute the way you want to be in a 60 way, in a age. If you are 30, contributed in a way, such a manner. And if you are 20, contributed way, in a way. Because 8 years people can contribute to AI technology right now, why can't the 20 age? And why can't the 30 age? It's not the age gap, it is the mindset. How the devil thinks. You tell me, what is an experience? Experience means contributing the accumulation of knowledge so far from past legacy, and application is experience, right? When it will come, you show it off. You already face the challenges, yes, of course. That's not the experience. What propagation, action, further respective action to reaction? That is an experience. So this is the thing over it. Public speech, Honorable Narendra Modi sir emphasized the minimum government is the maximum governance. And good governance is how responded need to the poorest of the vulnerability. That means Sustainable Development Goal Action Agenda 2030 giving a rightful need to last mile record. This is the key pillar here, because this is one of the best. Transparency is the most powerful disinfect. Means you should not be corruptive enough. Think twice whether you are transparent. Think twice whether you are accountable. That is more than enough for the social concern. And a government initiative is making their own in a respective distinguished factors, considering the value-based economy and growth-based corridor or region-based diversity and cultural event to supremacy of the literate and also meaningful thought progress. This is the devolution program. And see, there is a challenge here in a justice denied, corruption, non-transparent, not accountability, and last mile regard is not. 16% of the wealth in hands of 84% of the people. It is not the joke. That's not the joke. The joke is 84% of the wealth is in the hands of 16%. That is the real junk. How come you are stabilized their own government in such a way? Right. And also lack of coordination among the department, the state to state, local to local, the state to national, or the national to international. This is the gap between them. Yes, there is a lack of coordination in any organization, any sphere, somebody having an ego, a petty jealousy, a petty ego, a lust, hamper the society, not the way it responds. There is a challenge, how we respond it. First you get away from the challenge. You will get an idea how the dealship will be propagated. Then the coordination occur without your thing. Then the solution will be arises. Then the innovation will get it. And also the solution is the interpretation of the third end, government is the happiness of the people. Each government is segmentorious in a way. The way of propagation in happiness towards the society is the primary task. We Bhutan is manifesto towards the happiness towards the GDP. They are not measuring from the GDP. They are measuring from the happiness growth. But we are measuring from the GDP. Not we. All the countries, whether it is a democratic country, whether it is a capitalization country, whether it is a national based country, build up on the country, developing country, develop the country, develop the country. Happiness is the key pillar. What happiness we are required? Either the human, no, or the animals, no, birds, no, each and every segment that is also called as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And Nishkama Karma is the one concept to arithmetically exchange the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam सबका साथ सबका विकास towards the national capacity building, one for all for one, the सर्वोत्तम model of good governance. Is there any doubt? Thank you.